different map. I'm excited to get a new one, another one under our belts. I am quite saddened on the journey that we don't get Overpass as well. My favorite map, I heard Max mention that one. I think that would have been awesome as well, but to continue in the upper bracket, that is the storyline right now between these teams. Many people maybe think that Endpoint wouldn't have been here. It might have been Eternal Fodder, but for the woes of that, it is a different challenge for GODSENT.
It is indeed, and Vertigo is going to be the first man. Now, you mentioned, Dion, that I feel as though these two teams, and I agree with you, are perfectly matched for Vertigo. I don't know, is this a bit of a blunder from Endpoint and picking into Vertigo? I guess we'll see, because the Brazilians do not shy away.
Yeah, it's almost whatever map Endpoint ended up picking here kind of picks into GODSENT, just with the percentage win rates that they do have. Forget about Dust 2, they both don't really play that. I do like the heat that Endpoint are starting to tackle up against on this A site. They are losing the duels, however. Good for one, as Phelps does get dinked on down to 16 points of HP. Brings in a little bit of time for the rotations. A fake tap on the plant gives a little bit more time for Endpoint, baiting out those nades.
Yeah, Nert's just waiting for that. Now the bomb plant will come in. The cover seems to be quite good. Okay, here we go. They are just streaming through the smoke, and that has made things difficult. Mighty Max has fallen, and now it's all on Crucial, who has a 4 versus 1 from a precarious position.
Yeah, it's almost impossible in this rate. A couple of players that are quite low. Maybe I have spoken too soon, but the defuse was already being stuck. Crucial good for 1 kill. And Spartan to close it out in the end. Picking up 3 for himself. Lato with 2 as well. Always play the cards in the round.
Well, that is a good start for the Brazilian squad. As Endpoint now, very little investment. None, to be precise.
Well, they got the bomb plan down, which does shape them up for a pretty strong purchase coming into the round after this one as well. I do wonder if they're going to be ambitious enough to get out an AWP. It's not every day that you do see the T side opt for that, but Endpoint, I mean, they don't shy away from getting out big weapons as close as possible. You can back it up with that utility.
Absolutely. And of course, I would likely hand that to Crucial. However, I guess that is all to be unfolding in front of us over the next couple of rounds. But Surreal has that Deagle. Maybe he can fashion something here. Nobody from GODSENT is willing to overextend themselves, though. Phelps takes some damage, but needs to be careful. Doesn't want to be isolated here.
Yeah, he's going to find one frag on a Crucial. The HE grenade is going to miss its mark as the minute point in the round does get approached. Again, it's just a pretty formality at this point. It's just the pistols for Endpoint. Nothing too untoward should be happening. Maybe 1 or 2 kills is what we could see. There's going to be the first one on toward Phelps. As you say, a little bit over-eager in this one. You're mentioning him just before, but now is going to be the cleanup crew. And Nerds actually manages to find a frag. So it's 2 in the round for Endpoint.
And they do recover that weapon as well. So, I don't know. Have GODSENT fallen into the trap? As we do see, okay, no AWP coming out for Crucial.
It would have been a stretched cry. It would have been a far reach for it. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked to see it. I think it could have been quite cool. But you don't, at this point in time, you don't want to be giving that over toward GODSENT if they haven't invested in it on the first point.
No, correct. It would have been a glass cannon at best anyway.
Well, it's just going to be this progressive utility at the moment to come from both sides. A little bit of an extension out into mid for Endpoint.
Now, Nertz is the danger man too. We saw him in action yesterday. He was that player that was quite dynamic in the way that he played, to be honest. He didn't really overextend. He was quite a smart player, being one of the youngsters on this squad too. Now, Taco has just some flames to dodge as that first exchange early on. A lot of utility being burnt up by both these two teams, and I feel as though GODSENT have really felt the brunt of that.
Yeah, they've only got a smoke and a flash to be able to play with. Actually, another smoke, but that's going to get deployed at the moment from Ladder. It doesn't really matter if you're out of util, if you're picking up the frags. Phelps manages to find 2, but immediately Endpoint return fire and take down 2. It's 3-3. A little bit of this util still to play with for Endpoint, but this is the point in the time where they need to pick a bomb site and start to go there.
Now, Nertz is going to keep attention over towards B. And, I mean, the bomb is also in tow. So this could get interesting here. Taco, that solo B bomb site defender. They're just going to check the extremities too, so I don't think there's going to be anything on offer for them.
Yeah, cheeky boost up on the railings to see if they are going to be able to find anything. Meanwhile, Taco is just waiting behind the girder. Not going to be peeking out. 10 seconds just to deny the bomb plant is going to be the challenge for him right now. There's the first frag to come on through. 10 seconds to try and get the plant. Mighty Max is looking the wrong way, whilst Nertz is good for one. There's no time to win the round out from here. Kind of an attempt, a bit of a fake tap to bring out the last one. So it's going to be that save to make sure that they've got something to play with in the next round.
Just perfect patience played by Taco, and that's all it needed to be, as he just had to sit behind the girder. They all had to stream into him, and it played perfectly into GODSENT's plan. Now, Nertz saving that AK over. What is the rest of the team going to piece together?
Yeah, well, they don't have the greatest money behind them at the moment. It's just the loss bonus +1 because of the double down on the pistol, of course. We'll just wait for a little bit of the reconnect to come through on Endpoint's side too, and that match pause will come undone. But you can't really get too hungry for the purchase here. If you are Endpoint, you'd be lackluster. You'd be down to Galil's with a little bit of utility. If you're going AK route, you don't really have anything else to back it up as well. So it is almost that phase of maybe a couple of little pistols to help Nertz if possible. Maybe if he loses his life, you've got the Kevlar behind yourself to at least bolster your own possibilities. But as we do see it unfold, yeah, just going to be those pistols.
We have seen GODSENT get maybe a little bit too over-eager when facing pistols. Could that be an opening for Endpoint? Or are they just going to curb their enthusiasm? As early utility, it's going to slow the progression on this ramp. However, that grenade's too deep. The Boros boost over the top takes Phelps, but Phelps has also been guilty of overextending himself here. So this is actually disastrous if they continued to push, but Taco has steadied the ship. The B presence has been eliminated. Boros has got himself, though, an M4 in hand.
Yeah, it could be a little bit deadly. You've got the AK, you've got the M4, you've got a little tiny bit of utility to try and work with. A minute's on the clock as well to play around. Warning sprays starting to come out from Taco over at the other side of the map, but all in all, it is still the calm before the storm potentially for Endpoint now, starting to reroute over towards A.
Yeah, just waiting for that group up. Obviously, it's the opposite happening here for GODSENT, right? Like, they're spreading out slowly, and that smoke is just going to hopefully get them into this bomb site to get that plant happening. The double smoke even increases the level of cover that they have. The bomb plant will come in, and now Endpoint have achieved their objective after just those pistols invested and the AK that had been saved over by Nertz. So it is a retake situation here for GODSENT. They do have some utility to work with. More importantly, they only have one kit.
Yeah, well, smoke goes over towards side hole. Another one can be placed on the bomb, courtesy of Taco. But the tap on the bomb is going to be the bait out right now. It's not the stick as Boros collects upon too. And that's exactly what you want to see if you are Endpoint right now. The tap again to come out on GODSENT's side. They need to pick up the kit right now. Dumal is going to take the fight, but there is just no time whatsoever to be able to find the round. That single AK didn't do anything for the side of Endpoint. The pistol started it off. The rifles closed it out.
And that is a great round for Endpoint. They do a lot to thin the CT economy. Only that one AUG saved over. So as far as they're concerned, they've almost been hard reset. They only take that AUG out of this round. Endpoint have done a fantastic job. I guess they fashioned something out of nothing. And now they're in a good position.
Yeah, that AWP, I'll be keen to see what Crucial's going to be able to do with that on the starting of this T side right now. But for the challenge that GODSENT do provide, it's not much in terms of the weaponry at the moment. A little bit of the early peak on the AWP, and it'll allow the team to start to encroach upon the B site, where a little cheeky stack is currently being seen from GODSENT.
And this A ramp has been quite successful for Endpoint, managing to pick up frags frequently. However, it is going to be the slow push down the stairs. It's going to be troublesome for Endpoint. And now they have to back off. Nertz steadies the ship, though. That was just a moment of panic as Boros waits patiently in the smoke.
Phelps really does like the creep down A ramp at the moment. A couple of times that he's been taken out trying to get a little something happening there. Barton is potentially finding the right amount of timing to find a frag here if Boris doesn't clear the line. I did see was it Mighty Max that jumped up over the scaffolding? No, I think it might have been Nertz there. He gets in toward the B side. So definitely an opportune window for Barton to maybe eliminate one member here. Oh, the gun barrel peeked out, but Boris didn't see it. Oh. How's he done that?
Oh, dear me. You've got to be feeling a little bit ripped off if you're Barton.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
Should have been dead to rights. Already crosshair trained on the face. Thought technically Boris might have seen it with the AUG barrel sticking out, but no.
And the one gun that they did have has been taken out. So they're still in that reset territory. They're only starting to build their economy back after some early success. And this is where you start to feel those CTE economic woes, right?
Yep.
You win the rounds. You win them closely, though. You know, that round where Taco just sat at the girder the entire time. Came down to 1 versus 1. And
yeah, there's been no real clean
expensive
rounds,
wins.
Yeah, from GODSENT at the moment for the ones that they have, and you flip it over. Endpoint, you know, they're starting to get a little bit of a wriggle on their T side. This should almost just be the econ builder for them, the reinvestment into a bit of util afterwards.
And look at the confidence that Endpoint are playing with. They're straight up that A ramp, no smoke to prevent them from pushing on, and they are just grouped up. They're happy to just basically they're not even smoking it. They don't want any of GODSENT to be able to get up nice and close, close the gap with those pistols. They want to keep them at distance, so they're happy to let the smokes just sit in the back pocket.
Ambitious crawl from Boris to take the challenge around the maze now as well. He's maybe realised that there's too many bodies around the corner, but that's where GODSENT do start to just come and walk in toward the territory that Endpoint already do hold. Phelps good for 1 frag, and it's just down to Taco to see if anything can be taken out. Maybe he gets a double dink on toward Nertz here, but that folding is here. We're all tied up 3-3, and we do finally get another purchase from GODSENT here. How much utils there going to be, though?
Oh, not going to be too much, maybe. Okay. In terms of retake utility, they're very limited on flashes, it seems as though.
And kits.
Exactly. The situation is going to be that they will have to get the job done without a retake scenario, hopefully. Otherwise, they're going to have to be right there and putting pressure on Endpoint. Should it come to that?
Yeah, well, we've seen Endpoint gather control of this ramp time and time again, so it's not like GODSENT can quite justify throwing that normal standard set of util down toward the ramp, so it's going to be a lot of scaffold smoke with a flash on down, and again, Phelps is just getting hungry for this eager peek down the scaffolding.
He needs to be careful he doesn't get isolated. He's already copped some damage. He's copping his spam. He might cop the AUG too if he's not careful. So, oh, okay. Boros is copping it now too. So, exchange either way. However, all of these smokes and utility pieces that are being expended by GODSENT right now may come back to bite them in that retake scenario. Yeah,
and you got 2 players for GODSENT over at that B site as well, so they do have the defenses really strengthened with that there. No one in mid, it's not really necessary at the current time. You got 3 surrounding this A site, so you know, the little utility that they were able to play with, they can just make sure they're cycling that to keep Endpoint at bay, force utility out from their regard, and whilst GODSENT can get a little bit of this early round control, you come to the late round right now, and Endpoint still have a lot of this utility that they can force the CTs back.
Absolutely, but looks to be the turtle up towards the A ramp. That could be disastrous, as there is that boost coming through from Phelps and some trigger discipline.
He doesn't have the line, but now he does. Good for 1 on toward Mighty Max, and with 20 seconds, you know that the rotation cannot happen to the other side of the map. An opportunity for Boris to find him out. Cheeky boost up onto the platform. Phelps does permit him for 1 frag, another through the smoke. And we talk about the bomb being denied from being planted. That is exactly what GODSENT have been able to do, but Nertz does manage to get it on toward the floor. The digits have been punched in, and we turn in toward the post-plant scenario. Nertz good for the frag, and we're all tied up in this 2-2.
Now, Barton is out on an island by himself. He is waiting for his teammate to do the work here as the flank will come through. Barton's good for 1, though, so this makes things really difficult for Nertz. He has to pivot on a dime, not able to do so. And now, GODSENT have a round. However, once again, it's been so expensive for them.
Yeah, 2 players surviving into the next one. You'll have to ask for a couple of drops to come over to the teammates here. They'll definitely be able to do that and get a little scrap of utility behind it. Again, it's that confidence value. You need to make sure that you're winning these rounds cleanly coming forward right now, because the T's, they still do have a little bit of that piggy bank that they're able to play with moving on forward. It's still anyone's kind of half at the moment. A little bit of the tells that Endpoint are loving this A site. They haven't really tempted fate over at B.
You're right, it is a bit of a seesaw still. The pendulum really hasn't gained too much momentum one way or the other. And you can see right now, yes, there has been some high points and low points in each team's economy, but right now they're meeting in the middle. So this is a round that there's a lot of money still in Endpoint's back pocket. They've still got some real chances to pressure and break that CT side economy. Both of these two teams, though, have shown that their T side is the strongest side. So Endpoint may still have something up their sleeve.
Yeah, well, you got to remember 14-4. It speaks a statement to be able to come back from that.
And I'm glad that this job site has had 0 injuries.
Just reminds me of, and I'll throw him under the bus here, when Conky fell off the map the other week in his little endeavours. Only the Aussies would get that, probably.
It's lost on me. We've all fallen off the map at some stage.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know if that's a metaphor for something.
No, he literally just fell off the map when trying to retake.
Even better. Phelps has fallen into the trap once again. He's gotten super aggressive. Now Lado, I thought for a moment there he was going to be blindsided, but he gets the better of Boros. Crucial's there for the trade. Okay.
Oh, you think at that point in time, as you see that shot out of the orb, you see something happen in the kill feed, and you're kind of thinking, no way, but that's actually Demau to be able to find the frag there. So the player advantage for GODSENT kind of forces Endpoint back. They got in front of the utility at a ramp. 1 frag goes each way. Now it just transitions over toward the B site, where Demau again is going to be challenged. Actually, all of GODSENT rotating over. They're sold on this.
Absolutely. It's the right call too, so the read is good. Demau is going to be burnt a little bit for just staying at the girder. However, they're fragging their way onto this site. Taco's good for 2, and that spins things back around in favor of GODSENT. As now Mighty Max has to try and jump the bullets. He's not able to do so, and it is 5-3.
That's a real cheeky tower boost to come up on the plat as well from the CTs, just making sure they can get a bit of visibility over the smoke, make sure nothing can happen. It's probably something that they might have revealed a little bit too early. Endpoint will be checking that later on. Likewise of the boost over at the other side of the map that they found Mighty Max on a little bit earlier on as well. But, you know, you've got these cheeky plays. You're trying to make sure you're getting in toward a semi-final here for that slot in toward the EPL group stage. See what you can play with. A couple of early bits of damage on towards Taco specifically here. As Endpoint completely grouped around the B site stairs.
Again, it's going to be that boost, looking for pick potentially through the grate. That Molotov, though, just forces them to break momentarily. As well, Nertz has got to do the damage with this AK. He's got to be the hero here. The rest of the team can afford to be fodder somewhat. However, Nertz...
Oh, did it fall off the map?
It may be irretrievable.
I think it's fallen off the map as he's died. That's unfortunate. Crucial's going to go down with the ship as well. Beautiful flash to come in from Demau. Barton will clean up that one. Unsure if he spotted any more bodies, but Demau looks to do that, and that's just an easy little hold around the B site. The half investment to come through for Endpoint does mean that they will get another one coming in toward this round.
Nice and solid. Nice and clean. As one caster may have said, clean and easy.
I don't know about the easy point at the moment.
It's all part of the act. It's all part of the saying.
Well, looking for the progressive utility in the beginning of this round. Looks more so toward a default phase for Endpoint, spreading their wings, seeing where they can flutter around. Phelps is, again, toying with the idea of going down scaffolding, it almost feels like. He's backed up by Lado, so it might not be a bad idea at this point in time. A deep HE grenade, not going to find any damage as Boris looks to take a bit of a duel, and again, he's going to clean the clock off Phelps.
Phelps has felt the pain time and time again, and scaffolding is quite scuffed for him. Oh, Lado thought he was going to be caught out. Crucial thought he had the jump, but was not to be. Lulled into a false sense of security there as they now have to make that readjustment back towards the B-bomb site. Now, they don't have any territory taken, so this is going to be grouped up approach. Yes, they have that late lurk coming through mid, but it's going to be a matter of timing.
Yeah, and it's a skeleton crew utility for Endpoint right now as well. The flash had to be perfect, and it was. It manages to find the frag on towards Taco. Barton starts to come in as well. Good for one, doubles on through. Boris for the trade, and now into a 2 versus 2 assault where the bomb is going to try to go on down to the floor. Boris gets legged up. HE grenade could even finish him here, but he does well to dodge it. Meanwhile, Mighty Max starts to creep up.
Now that Molotov burning away the time as both CTs now have control. They have even the player advantage as Boros has a lot of work to do and he is not able to complete that spray. GODSENT have got themselves in a better position. I mean, they're still losing players here, but the economy's in a better state, so not really so much of a talking point as it was in the earlier stages. So both teams are starting to build some bank. And, I mean, Endpoint, they're getting into the bomb sites, but they're still having some trouble holding.
Yeah, it's a bit of the post-plant worries coming through from them. They've been able to navigate the plants at least, but you know, the duels that they're finding themselves in when they get the plant down, after they're doing that, they don't have everyone up because they've tried to do something on the other side of the map or re-navigate toward the same site, and they've already just lost bodies, they've lost fragging ability, util ability, and all of that. They haven't had such a stable source of wealth at the moment to really get something good situated.
Now, Phelps is just so stubborn in pushing down and trying to make scaffolding his own. Now, he does go unchecked this time. He's good for 3. Can't get the 4th. Does some damage here. And Dumao now has fallen. And it's all on Mighty Max to try and make something happen. And unfortunately, just like every kid in the 90s, GODSENT has Mighty Max in their back pocket.
Yeah, well, at least Mighty Max has money that he's able to order around with in this one. So they will have another purchase, Endpoint. I still, honestly, Phelps, can't believe that he still continues to just be a menace down scaffolding. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. I guess it's conditioning, Endpoint, at this point in time, if you're going to call it anything like that, but stubbornness is certainly something.
Faster approaches here from Endpoint, though. I like this. This is something they haven't done, and that is put pressure on mid and B early on in the piece. Phelps, again, has found success on that ramp. He's got to be stopped. He's just going unpunished in some instances. I mean, he's trying it constantly. Dumao goes down, and, well, Phelps, again, he's just pushed all the way through now, and that's the bomb.
Yeah, Endpoint, if they keep giving him space to be able to work with the aggression that we're seeing come out from Phelps, he is just going to keep going down ramp. They're going to have someone watching it.
It's almost as though they don't want to believe that he is doing it every round. Because sometimes they're all over it. Other times, they just seem to ignore it and he gets away with it again. He's not doing anything different.
And what do you even do to clear him out? A couple of grenades? Do you try to get in front of the utility and make sure you've already got your guns out as well to challenge him? Throw the Molotov over towards the side hole to try and keep him from doing anything? He's probably even just going to push straight through it.
Yeah, I mean, aside from spam and just hoping that you get the right lineup when he pushes all the way down the scaffolding here, that's about it, to be honest. And once again, he really is just making things difficult for Endpoint.
And again, it's going to be another round for them that they don't really have the weaponry to really get out some good shots. No AKs, no nothing. It's just this Deagle armor setup, a little bit of the util behind it as well. You know that Phelps has already done what he's done normally with the smoke and the plays with the util. Now he's going to start to actually push down. So potential rifle that could be recoverable if they do manage to take him out. But the backup of Lado here as well as Phelps just lining them up, looking for the ace. The USP does get away from him as Lado will close it out. It's double digits now, Jim, for GODSENT, nice and early. We haven't really seen too much substance come out from Endpoint, unfortunately.
Now, the worrying sign is that Endpoint are better on their T side of Vertigo. This is their pick. So the fact that they are only able to get 3 rounds at this point. I mean, it's not cause for total alarm. However, it is of concern, grave concern. If they don't take the last 2 rounds here, I mean, that's just too much work for them to do on their CT side. They don't have that wiggle room, or they don't have enough rope, or however you want to term it. They're just not giving themselves the opportunity to. And again, Mighty Max falls for the smoke. So they're losing out early on in this contest for A ramp, and it's coming back to bite them, isn't it?
Certainly is. Again, Phelps just being the menace straight down towards the scaffolding is definitely not going to be relieving himself of this location. And GODSENT, they are making sure that they are taking total control around this ramp. You look at the investments that Endpoint have to throw in toward it, all this utility just to try and get an inch up the ramp. It's just almost unworkable at this moment.
Yeah, they're not even able to progress through the smokes. They're not getting anywhere. Now, Surreal might be able to find some timing if he continues to push, but I mean, Phelps has also decided to push back, so this is an awkward exchange. Surreal comes off worse, and now, with 50 seconds left, Endpoint, all their eggs are in this basket at A.
All the engagements just that Phelps and co were providing down the ramp means that no utility is really here for Endpoint as they do start to initiate their assault on toward the A site. Smoke, a couple of flashes, the duels that they're fighting, they are getting shut down, and it's Phelps again to be able to find a frag, relocate himself. You've got a double little stack here as well that could provide a problem over towards Endpoint. Now the flank from Taco comes out. It absolutely locks them in toward the ramp, and Phelps and Ladder will close it out in the end. More loss bonus coming into the pockets of Endpoint. They're at a similar junction that they've seen a lot of times before, but it's the last round of the half to come in with right now, and they're going to see what they can do in terms of the utility, in terms of the guns that they can bring out here, but you just look at the seesaw in how their economy has been played.
In the meantime, GODSENT are on that upward trajectory and haven't really been troubled, to be honest. Yeah, they're taking some losses in rounds, but it's nothing that's, you know, not being recovered by everybody else staying alive. So, Taco gets caught out with some utility, so this might actually spur some action over at B. Surreal opens up quite nicely, and here we go. This is what Endpoint needed. However, even if they get this 4th round here, is it going to be enough?
Potentially. We'll have to see how things do pan out on the exchange, but that's going to be after the half-time break, which we'll see soon. But for right now, GODSENT are going to try and get this retake on. Boris allowed an opportunity to lurk around the map, and I dare say GODSENT aren't going to be thinking of this at the current point in time. An early pull of the trigger to come out from Boris, immediately traded out, but that's time being diverted away from the retake right now as well. The flames used quite nicely from Endpoint will mean that it makes it almost impossible now for GODSENT to be able to go back in with this one. The 1-1 trade comes out. It's crucial to close, and 11-4 is indeed going to be the halftime scoreline. GODSENT will lead on the exchange. Folks, we'll be back soon after this halftime break.
11-4, the first half score for GODSENT on their CT side of Vertigo. The troublesome fact for us was that Endpoint, T side was their stronger side. They have failed to deliver, and add to that, now GODSENT are on the T side, which is also just statistically their strongest side. You have a recipe for an upset here, as Endpoint maybe just losing the map pick. I mean, there's obviously a half to play here, but a lot riding on this pistol.
Yeah, recipe for success for GODSENT and for disaster for Endpoint. But the journey, and 7 to tie it up, and a little bit more to try and get the win. We have, of course, seen what Endpoint is capable of doing in the recovery phase across the EPL conference stage here. So, I mean, I don't want to count them out too early, but Endpoint is, GODSENT rather, is a different beast than Eternal Fire.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen them down 14-4. So you're right, they do have the ability to recover. However, some of their bright shining stars need to start firing, as this is a better... Boros, actually. He was one of the players in question that we wanted to stand up and deliver. He is the category of bright and shining star, and now I feel like GODSENT have just been funneled into this A-bomb site, and the territory that they have to work with is slowly disappearing. Yeah,
so are the teammates at the moment. Barton and Phelps to see if they can recover something in toward the round. The hunt is on to see if they can take out Nerds. They can, but only after you say goodbye to Barton. And now all of the drops come out from the CTs, and the pistol round does indeed go over to Endpoint.
So that's the start they wanted, and more importantly, the start they needed on this CT side. They need to do pretty much exactly what GODSENT did, and that was maintain a stable economy to be able to put themselves in a position to come back. Now, GODSENT, there's no temptation here to... Oh, I was going to say, there is huge temptation, of course, and they have reached out. They have seized this forbidden fruit of the Force Fire, as...
Tucker's got something against Windows, it seems.
I don't know. I guess you could, he's experiencing what we might term as window pain.
Well, the utility's got to start to come out, and Nerds is going to give them a bit of a headache with that one. Makes it third, looking for the fourth right now, and it does get away from him in the end. Surreal will be able to pick that one up. And remember, this was a purchase to come through for GODSENT as well. They forced up.
That is a shutdown. Now, as we said, Endpoint, they have some youngsters. They have Nerds, they have Boros, who we saw against Eternal Fire. They were key players. They were playing fantastically. And it's certainly the case now. They are delivering here. Look at their scores, their contribution, this Endpoint team. And it definitely feels as though, now that they're on that CT side, they've awakened a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Phelps had a pretty phenomenal first half as well, racking up over 20 kills.
It was Groundhog Day for him, though. He did the same thing every round and got away with it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a different situation for him whilst he is on this T side now. A little bit easier to dislodge him from any repetitive positions. Actually noticing Mighty Max has UMP. It's been a while since I've seen that gun brought up.
On that 2016 meta. Oh, that's nice. Trying to keep it clean, though. That's the most important thing here. Boros is just full of confidence. The way he's playing, pushing, and he picks up to mount. I mean, it was almost a foregone conclusion at that point. So that's what you don't want to do if you're GODSENT, and that is give confidence to the players that are going to be the win condition for Endpoint.
Yeah, 4K on the board will always pad the stats, make them look a little bit prettier. It's confidence kills to come through, even if it is against the eco, against those little pistols. But it does mean we got the purchase to come through for GODSENT in this new round. A lot of that utility to be able to throw on through. And it's a very comparable purchase to come through still for Endpoint as well. You know, the M4A1Ss to come across the board, except for Mighty Max on that UMP. Might look to get a little bit more aggressive. It's a great nade, actually, on toward Nerds. But the starter up is actually going to be crucial, shutting down Phelps.
Yeah, now that's Nerds again. He is continuing to push. This is... Oh, okay. They were ready for it, though.
Eventually.
But back to a 4 versus 3, and you almost feel as though now GODSENT are filtered into A. They're not going to commit to it smartly enough, but Surely the info is going to come through here. Endpoint seemingly do like to push for information.
There's no smokes for GODSENT to play with anymore. I do wonder if they can try and pick one up from a fallen comrade, potentially. There's a flash on the floor, I think I did see there. So it's not the intended util that you want to be able to pick up right now. There is eventually a smoke that Barton's going to be able to find. So a window of a little bit of cover presented over at that B site, which is where they're starting to go towards. Surreal, Mighty Max, going to be readily available for the fight.
Surreal's going to be the real linchpin here. Now, if he overcommits, could be in trouble. However, the reward is potentially catching the boost out. Didn't see the shoulder, and Lado is all too aware of that now. Mighty Max has to try and stop this tide of darkness streaming onto the B bomb site, but he's only got a UMP. Now, Demau has even created a flank, so I feel like it's situation critical here for Mighty Max, and he is definitely in the doom zone.
By himself with the UMP. You've got Crucial with a full kit of util, by the way, and now he starts to come up from the B stairs. It's an isolated duel against Barton, and the dink, that's the difference between the A1S and the AK. If it was the other weapon, would have been on the 1 versus 1 at the end, but nevertheless, GODSENT with the purchase, the round win, and they will be able to still get up what they require for this next round, and likewise of Endpoint.
They still will be able to pony up with that AWP too for Crucial. So relatively healthy amount of utility for both teams, but this is a game here that Endpoint don't want to enter into, and that's the economic game. This is a massive round. Well, the round that just played out was a massive downturn in their economy. They were looking healthy. They wanted to try and replicate what GODSENT did in the first half, and well, Boros is trying to replicate what Phelps was doing.
Yeah, give the best impression, but the only one right now is going to be in toward that gravestone, unfortunately. Here lies Boros.
Oh, he's going to be double peaked here, I suspect, Mighty Max. No, there's no second step. No trade potential coming through. And Crucial misses that, but they need to be careful here because Crucial is still a massive threat with that AWP.
Another incendiary. They know that Crucial still is here lurking about, and he's going to come out the peak, and it's nicely done on toward the face of Phelps. It'll equalize us in the 3 versus 3. Taco hasn't been able to find any positioning up toward the B site in this current point in time, so it gives Surreal a bit of extra time for himself as well to at least get back toward the site.
The adjustment too is coming in from Endpoint. Surreal's now getting back onto the bomb site. He has Nerts in tow, so they have just dumped some utility to try and allow themselves some time.
Well, shots start coming out. This utility is starting to be non-existent as well for GODSENT. A great shot out from a Nerts makes it a little bit easier for the CTs to try and close this one out. It's less than 30 seconds for the plant to try and go down as Taco lines them up. It's now on the 1 versus 1 against the AWP. It's already the line trained on toward close proximity at the generators. Taco trying to bait out a shot at the moment. He knows Crucial is that AWP player. He's really trying to make work of it. He gets the little headshot in style as well. So a round possible for Endpoint, stolen away.
Absolutely. Now, I thought that was going to go very much the way of Endpoint. And you can see now that they are, that was that round, that swing round, with the massive downturn in CT economy. It came at a huge price. And now they're back on the Whitlam sampler of all buys. They've got MP9s, they've got a single M4, very, very thin utility, and not a single kit. So this is tough for a team that may have to play in a retake.
Yeah, banking on the fact that GODSENT only had one player survive at the end, and they might not have a pretty purchase coming in toward this one. Maybe a rude awakening for them with the amount of AKs. Yeah, there's some Galils, but utility behind it as well that GODSENT can actually play with. A lot of stack as well, Jim, over to this A site. 4 players there for Endpoint. The boost up for Boros too.
The trade-off, though, is that if Endpoint take this, it's GODSENT's economy that might start to feel the woes because they've really just burnt through a lot of cash themselves trying to buy into this round. Phelps is already out of utility. He's just picked up something, but I would suspect here that with the huge emphasis Endpoint are putting on this A ramp, that walking into that may be a trap.
Oh, well, Endpoint, they are starting to fall back at the moment as well, and it's kind of the wrong decision, unfortunately, that we get from our armchair position, our bird's eye view. But as Lado pushes up, the team starts to disappear. Nope, they're still going in toward the side. Endpoint coming back as well.
Yeah, they had a very strong position towards the A ramp, but now Phelps is going to beat out that utility. He's going to beat out the second wave, but he doesn't win the fight as Tumao also goes down. So Endpoint have this angry mob approach, and it's working, but the time is ticking here for GODSENT.
Yeah, no incendiaries, no HE grenades that Endpoint can throw out. They're just going to take the challenge with the weaponry at the moment. Barton gets taken out. Taco needs to defend. It's not going to happen, and now Laddo knows it. He knows that they've lost the round. You talk about the swing round, certainly so. It goes the CT side's way, and with no real loss bonus built up for GODSENT, in terms of money, they have no money.
Absolutely. The best thing they got in that round was the plant, and that is not going to be enough to just swell those pockets to a point where they'll be able to afford anything in the round.
They're going for it.
They are going to go for it, though, because I feel as though they sniff out so they can put the CT economy on the back foot. Yeah. Don't think it's going to, like, it's not such a...
it's a risk.
Yeah, it's a calculated risk, yes, but all they're going to do here is, you know, potentially reduce the loss bonus. Yeah. They're not in that reset territory.
Well, they've done the math, they've done the juggling at the beginning of the round to see what they can get out the utility for a couple of players. AK for one in Taco, and the Lil's there as well. Already a bit of a peek out from Surreal, as he will be forced to go back.
I was watching his eyes widen too, as he was put under increasing pressure. He wanted to get out of there so badly.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of CTs around this B side at the moment. We're waiting for the boost to potentially come up for GODSENT. It's a great grenade to make them very squishy. I mean, you've got some AKs and a Galil on the T side, on the CT side now, rather, so they could certainly still chip away at the damage. It's going to be Surreal to find the first frag onto Taco. AK at least retrieved and not shot off the map.
It's a much better outcome. However, they are a player down with a minute left on the clock, and no territory now either. All the eggs are over towards this B stairs, so Endpoint do have two players in this B bomb site. It's a difficult prospect.
Yeah, a little bit of a one-dimensional play to come through for GODSENT at the moment, making sure that they're just very focused, very aligned toward the B site. Surreal is going to blindly find Barton, and the trade starting to come through as well. Nertz doesn't really need to force his hand here. He doesn't need to press the issue. He's got his teammates here. He can rely upon 30 seconds and know that GODSENT are essentially locked into this site, but they are starting to open it up. Knock, knock, who's there? It's GODSENT here for a plant.
Well, Mighty Max might be there to try and deny it. Boros is on the flag. However, it is being denied. Jamal has him in his back pocket. Mighty Max, though, does not win that duel. And that is a round that puts Endpoint in a position where their money is not... It's not the end of the world for them, but it's not the best position it could be in. They are going to buy into it. We've seen them with this Whitlam sampler style buy. So they're comfortable on it, and they've won rounds with it. But this also puts GODSENT in a position where their win bonus is awful.
The to and fro that we've seen from all of these rounds in the second half has not allowed either of these teams to really build up the economy, and we're just seeing it with the struggled purchases come on through, the calculated risks. We think that we can dislodge our opponents right now, and we're starting to do that exactly. And it's still kind of favouring GODSENT, of course, because they've got the 14th round under their belt, and Endpoint only have 8. But, I mean, you look at what's going to be plausible in this next round. It's going to be one of those things that Endpoint don't want the plant to go down. They've got no kit to be able to work with. They don't have a copious amount of utility as well, so they need to be very careful and sparing on how they are going to be using that utility.
Yeah, both these two teams are just effectively broke. They're both effectively broke. I need to get on that 2022 grind set.
A couple of Mac 10s for GODSENT to try and work with at the moment. Again, it's going to be the B stairs control, and they will be able to find some early util starting to go out, as I think that molly actually... Oh, no, it landed.
Just not in the right spot. It landed, though. So what utility they do have is slowly starting to be whittled away. Endpoint don't have a fantastic amount of utility to themselves. I'm looking across. I don't see kits either, really, so... This is going to be a tough ask for them. Should they surrender a bomb site? They're probably going to watch them save, to be honest, and try and buy into the next. But before that happens, Nertz is going to give them every sporting chance of winning this round. This is a risky play, but it is a big reward.
That's a play that we saw GODSENT do time and time again, and they were rewarded for it. Boris is going to start off the adventure by finding one, a couple more in the kill feed, and Mighty Max gets away with 2. but brought them back into the 2 versus 2 as it's Crucial and Surreal. See if they can start to lock it down. The Deagle, I thought it was going to come out in that regard, but now as Lado does get the clothesline onto Crucial, it's going to be the player advantage for GODSENT. Starts to go silent, however, as they'll wait for the group up. The Flames go down under Surreal, and the spread, he doesn't want to tempt fate on that one.
No. The Flames go upward. Surreal is not able to catch anybody exiting the bomb site just yet.
Yeah, they're not going to move either, are they? They start to shift as Lado sniffs him out. That's the 15th, capitalized upon by GODSENT, and I look towards the right of the screen, and there's no money.
There's no money, no rounds to play with, and unfortunately, this is Endpoint's map pick. So, as we highlighted earlier, both these two teams have statistically their stronger side on the T side, and unfortunately for Endpoint, that was last half.
Yep, the Deagles, the MP9, we'll see what they can work with at the moment, but it is very shifted over towards GODSENT's side right now. They don't need to go completely with haste either. They can keep it measured.
Phelps. I feel as though Phelps is all too aware of the kind of tricks you can get up to at this A ramp. So he's not having any of it. No nonsense approach from him.
Nancy's home. He knows exactly the layout. He knows exactly where is what and what is where. But for right now, it's only going to be the 1-to-1 trade starting to come through. And AK retrieved. Surreal removes Taco's face.
Yeah, it's a much better prospect for them now. In a forward position, that has allowed a gap through mid. The pressure on B. They're going to try and push through the smoke. And it's all on Nertz. And as good as he is, I don't think this one is within reach.
Yeah, the 1 versus 3 is definitely going to be strugglesome for him. 43 points of HP to be able to work with as the bomb will start to transition over to where the team has already found an entry road in. It'll go to plant over towards A. You can already, again, see that Demau has pushed up through toward the maze. So Nertz's fight here, the battle, and he will be walking in towards. The Flames will leave him, keep him at bay. Demau will swing. A little bit of damage starting to be delivered, but almost needed to find the decisive blow on that one. The flashes are through, and he's just stuck. Yeah,
this is where you just look at a wall if you are GODSENT. You don't have to do anything. It's all in Endpoint's hands. However, Nertz gives them a breath of hope. He doesn't have a kit. He needs his frag now. He's not able to do it. And that is GODSENT taking the first map in this series, 16-8. It is a strong statement. Endpoint lose their map pick. I guess this is the series that they didn't want. However, let's leave it to the analyst desk to break this one down.